A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
BBC will interrupt all of its programs to bring you the latest news.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually in the tabernacle of the congregation. And it shall be a statute forever in your generation.
The Eternal Light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations present The Eternal Light. This public service program comes to you under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Our drama today, written by Morton Wishengrad, marks the approaching festival of Passover with the story of a second Exodus. Roger de Koven is featured as Baruch Halevi and Bernard Lenroe as the narrator.
Avadim hayinu hayinu ata benechorin benechorin.
It was a song they sang when the Passover came round. Slaves were we in Egypt, they sang, and the words were only words, and the melody was only a melody. For we lived in Portugal, and the year was a welcome year, for it was 1497. Portugal in the year 1497, the Portugal of King Manuel and Queen Isabella. And yes, the Portugal of my father, Baruch Halevi, the son of Abraham. It was a good place, this place of my boyhood. We lived in a pleasant valley, and the vineyards were fruitful. From our house to the synagogue, it was only 1,020 steps. And on the Sabbath, I would scrub my face and put on clean linen and hug the prayer shawl to my breast and walk with my father.
Careful you don't drop the shawl, Benjamin.
672, 73, 74.
Benjamin.
Yes, Papa, I'm holding it tight. 77, 78, 79.
My father would laugh, and I would count 1,020 well-remembered steps as we walked together through the narrow little street, which was also clean and scrubbed for the Sabbath, and where the sun smelled of grapes and the shadows were cool. And always we would meet the baker, who was a disputatious man, and who would say to my father,
Baruch, look to your son.
Good Sabbath.
Good Sabbath. The boy is a mumbler.
Benjamin, the baker says you're a mumbler.
Yes, Papa. 710.
It's a desecration of the Sabbath.
Leave him alone, Baker. He's only a boy.
14.
It amuses him to count the steps. Besides, it does you no harm.
He should be memorizing the Talmud.
All in its proper place, Reb Baker.
And what is more proper than the Talmud on the Sabbath day?
A smile, perhaps.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Hillel says, he who does not increase his knowledge decreases it, and he who does not study deserves to die.
Benjamin is studying numbers. Eh, Benjamin?
32, 33, 34.
You see, Reb Baker. Come on, man, smile.
And why should I smile? Tell me, why should I smile, huh, Baruch?
Because the sun is shining and the Sabbath is meant for joy. And, Rebecca, it's good to be alive.
Avadim hayino, atapin nechorin v'nechorin.
Yes, it was good to be alive and to be a Jew and to live in Portugal. And good to have a father like my father, to play chess with him, to listen to him speak, and watch his nose wrinkle when he smiled. And once when I was playing with a stone and throwing it in the air, the way a boy throws a stone in the air, I threw it too far. It fell and killed the baker's chicken. I did not mean to do it, and my father knew that.
Come here, Benjamin.
I'm sorry, Papa. It slipped. The baker wouldn't have known it was me, except the other boys told him.
Wouldn't you have confessed yourself, Benjamin?
Well,
Tell the truth, son.
no, I wouldn't have. That's wrong, Papa, isn't it?
Very wrong. You destroyed another man's property.
It was only a chicken, the one that wouldn't lay eggs.
Even a chicken that gives no eggs, it's another man's property.
Are you angry with me, Papa?
No, I'm not angry. But I want you to do something for me.
Of course, Papa.
Find other friends. I don't like you to play with boys with tattle. I don't like informers, Benjamin. In this world, justice is always the most important thing. But there's also something else.
What else, Papa?
Mercy. Remember that, son. In this world, people ask for justice, but sometimes they also ask for mercy. Yes, that's always wise to remember.
That was Baruch Halevi, my father. Everything that was good in this world, he taught me. To read, to play chess, to press grapes and make wine, to be modest, and best of all, to be silent.
It is as Simon, the son of Rabbi Gamliel, said, "All my days I have grown up among the wise, and I found nothing better for a man than silence."
Nonsense, Baruch. It's a foolish thing to tell the boy. If a man is learned, let him speak up. How else will others profit by his words?
Rebecca, is learning so important? Not learning, but doing is the chief thing. Remember, it is also said, whoso multiplies words occasions sin.
A man with a stutter must have written that.
Rebecca, perversity is your Torah. I say day, you say night. I say milk, you say meat. I say smile, you say...
What's there to smile about? Truly, what is there to smile about?
We're alive.
But we live in a ghetto.
There's no ghetto for a man's mind. If the mind is free, the body is free.
Oh, piffle. I am a baker. And because I'm a Jewish baker, I have to pay a special tax.
What difference? You're not starving?
But pretty soon I will be. A Jew in Portugal has to pay a tax to walk on a road. Imagine, for 1,300 years, Jews have lived in Portugal. And now along comes a king who tells us we have to pay a tax to see our own country.
You're quite right about that, Rebecca.
Oh, so I am right about something.
About this, yes. Portugal is our country. We Jews came here before there was a Christian church.
Yes, and now they say... Do you know what the Queen says? We defile the purity of the national bloodstream.
What?
Yes, I'm not making it up, Baruch, so help me.
That's preposterous. What purity, what bloodstream? Is Portugal pure? What is the Portuguese bloodstream?
Don't ask me.
It's Phoenician, Iberian, and Celt, Carthaginian, Greek, Visigothic, Roman, Vandal, Moorish. What's she talking about? Portugal is half the world, a mixture of races.
And religions, Baruch. Christian, Mohammedan, Jewish.
I haven't forgotten. Defile the purity. What impossible nonsense.
That's why I don't smile, Baruch. The times are not for smiling.
You may be right, Rebecca. Whenever I hear this talk of racial purification, I know it's time to worry. Not only for ourselves, but for the sanity of the whole world.
Baruch, there's danger.
Yes, Rebecca. Real danger. coming. You beat the door down.
Baruch Halevi?
Yes, Baruch Halevi is my name.
Sir.
I don't understand.
Shall I teach him?
Hold your fist. Say, sir, next time you address us.
Very well.
Sir.
Sir.
Say it out, Jew.
Very well, sir.
I don't like the way he says it.
Let him be. Baruch Halevi, I ask you for 30 denarii.
You ask me, sir?
You're quite right. I should say I demand. In the name of the king, I demand 30 denarii.
Surely I am entitled to some explanation.
With pleasure.
We demand. You pay, that's the explanation.
Don't interrupt, I'll do the explaining. Their blessed majesties, King Manuel and Queen Isabella, are in need of funds. That's simple. 30 denarii, Jew. That's your tax.
I see.
Hand it over. 30 pieces of silver.
Nearly all I have. It's a very large sum, sir.
Don't argue, Jew.
Oh, I'm not arguing, sir. It doesn't escape me that the gun you carry is a most superior argument.
Then hand it over and be quick, or we'll bash your head in.
From Pharaoh of Egypt to Manuel of Portugal, a straight line. Yes, the more history changes, the more it stays the same. Nothing changes. Persecution is a pattern, fixed, sour, immutable. Yes, Baruch Halevi, Baruch my father, Baruch, the son of Abraham, the good man and the generous man, stood in the synagogue like a rock and spoke to the dwellers of the ghetto.
People, this is the beginning. Israel is in Egypt. Egypt, not Portugal. Portugal is the land we have loved, and this no longer is that land. Here is where our ancestors have lived and died and brought their books. And now the books are closed. There is a tax on conscience, and respect is extorted with a gun. And it is clear now there will be more guns. Baker. Yes, Baruch? You may no longer follow your trade. Jews are forbidden to deal in flour. Butcher.
Yes, Baruch.
You also. No Jew may deal in meat.
No.
Also you, Vittler, an apothecary. You also. People, the doors are closing. The ghetto is surrounded by laws.
There's more than laws, Baruch. The son of Gamliel is dead in his father's house. He refused to pay the tax.
Let us stand together and go to him. Let us go to Gamaliel.
No, let Gamliel be. Do not appease thy fellow in the hour of his anger, and comfort him not in the hour when his dead lies before him. We have greater things for decision.
Yes, you're right, Baruch.
Hear me, all of you. These taxes are a beginning. There will be more. They will fall on all alike. Let all be responsible for each. Let us give our money, rich and poor, to a central treasury, so that none may be taken from us or harmed for want of a single coin. Let us all stand together, and if need be, let us all perish together. Yes, my friend, I'm coming. I expected you, my friends. Welcome, sirs.
I still don't like the way he says it.
Oh, be quiet, you fool. Baruch, we come again on King's business.
Naturally, sir. A new tax?
Oh, no. Business, I said.
The Jews have no business. It is the king's command, sir.
There's money in the ghetto treasury, yes?
You see, we know everything.
Very astute, sir.
Shall I give it to him?
Why don't you shut up? Baruch, the king wishes a loan.
A loan from us?
Exactly. Wars are expensive. How much do you have in your treasury?
I see.
We'll each enter. We'll take 2/3.
As a loan.
I understand. And the king will pay us back, of course.
Of course. Don't you trust the king?
It would be foolish for us not to, wouldn't it?
Very foolish. But the king is generous. Here, take this paper. That paper is the king's authorization.
It gives you power to be the king's tax collector.
Yes, to the amount of your debt.
Most generous. And from whom do we collect?
From all the good Christians in this province. They pay taxes. You will collect.
Not enough to strip us, not enough to bar us from our trades. Now you force us into usury. Now you make it certain that the name of Jew will be an abomination throughout the land. That when we come for our taxes, we will collect the king's debt and the enmity of every citizen.
Exactly, Baruch. That is exactly what we intend. And you must admit, the plan is not a bad one. Is it, Baruch?
No.
No what?
You must excuse me. No, sir. I seem to have lost my manners. The plan is not a bad one. No, sir.
No, not a bad plan. For it was a plan that worked. The Jews became the tax collectors of Portugal, and there was hatred of the Jew. And it was not a difficult thing to fan this hatred. Where there is hatred, there is rumor. Rumor that is the bite of a fox, and the sting of a scorpion, and the hiss of a venomous serpent. And all this was for the Jew. And for the Jew, there were two roads now.
Baruch, I can't stand it any longer. There's only death for us, or...
Or what, Ezra?
I can't say it, Baruch.
Or what, Ezra?
It's not for myself. Believe me, it's not for myself. I have 3 little children. They must not die.
Ezra, or what, or what?
You know what the alternative is.
I do not know that there is an alternative for a Jew.
Conversion.
So?
I swear to you it will be the conversion of the lip. In our hearts we will remain loyal. Don't you hear me?
What do you want me to say?
Say that what I'm doing is not terribly wrong.
But it is wrong, terribly wrong. You'll be both an apostate and a liar. You'll wrong 2 religions instead of one.
I can't help it, I tell you. I have 3 little ones, do you hear? The youngest is 6 weeks old. Why should she suffer? I won't let it happen. She mustn't die. And if we don't allow ourselves to be converted, we'll all be dead. All be dead, Baruch. Dead.
Stop trembling, Ezra. Do whatever you think is right.
Baruch, will you be my friend?
Someone will have to be your friend, Ezra. Yes. I'll be your friend. And may God have mercy on you.
Conversos. Thousands were converted in the mounting terror. You could touch the fear over the ghettos. You could feel it and smell it, sharp and acid, like a secretion from the skin. And it did not help. For while some were converted in good faith, many more secretly retained the faith of their fathers. And this became a poison and a scandal and an infection. And to meet the poison and the scandal and the infection, there was a remedy.
They burned him.
Yes, Rebecca. They burned Ezra.
Oh, poor Ezra. Burned at the stake. And what was his crime?
He changed his linen on the Jewish Sabbath and put on his cleanest suit. Judaizing, they called it.
How many conversos have been killed?
I don't know, Rebecca. They sought to find life by escaping their faith. All that they found was the pit.
And what will become of us, Baruch? What will become of those who stand firm?
Don't you know, Rebecca? Look in the book of Exodus. We've lived in the land for 1,300 years. We've given it the store of our learning, the fruit of our wisdom, our science, our astronomy, our medicine. Now it's time for us to depart. The year is 1497, Rebecca. It's the season of Passover. Let us go to our homes and read the Exodus from Egypt.
course, it was the season of the Passover. And the song he sang was, Hi Sha'amda Lavotenu. And Baruch Halevi, my father, sat at the table which was covered with a white cloth, and before him was the dish filled with marah, and in his mouth there was the bitterness of the thing. And we covered the matzahs and raised the wine glass, and he read to us from the book.
V'hi she'amda lavotenu v'lanu, shelo echad bilvad amad aleinu lachalakenu, elo shebechol dor vador omdim aleinu lachalakenu, v'hakadosh baruch hu matzilenu miyadam. This is the promise which has stood by our forefathers and stands by us. For neither once, nor twice, nor 3 times was our destruction planned. In every generation they rise against us, and in every generation God delivers us from their hands. My family, it is happening again. Once it was their turn, now it is ours. Soon there will come a proclamation from the king. It will be soon. It is a thing that does not fail.
And what my father spoke came to pass. Even as we sat at our table and broke the unleavened bread of the holy day, His Majesty King Manuel of Portugal issued his proclamation and affixed his royal seal.
All Israelites will depart this land forever under penalty of death. Any Christian found concealing a member of the Jewish faith will be summarily deprived of his property. None who leaves may be permitted to take coins of any description, neither gold nor silver, nor precious stones. This is our royal command.
It is a sad thing to give your possessions away and to empty the house where you have lived and your grandfather has lived and his grandfather before him. It is sad to turn one final time and see the pleasant valley and the fruitful vineyards of your childhood taken by the despoiler. In the year 1497, we turned this last time. And some wept, and some walked on the roads to the seaports with bowed heads, and many fell by the side and did not rise. And there were Christians who stood in their doorways and wept also. And when my father, Baruch, the son of Abraham, fell sick of the fever, they gave him water to drink. I shall not forget that. And when he fell for the last time, they stood by my side and helped me wash him with warm water as is fitting, and wrap him in his prayer shawl and cover him with the earth of Portugal. And this was good. We came to the seaport and waited for a ship to take us away. And when we sailed, we overtook a vessel with square sails. And the baker who stood by my side said to me,
"What are you staring at, boy?"
The sails of that ship, Red Baker. They are flung out by the wind. They stretch like arms. Red Baker, they seem to want to embrace the whole world.
But not us. All humanity, Benjamin, but not us.
Do you know what ship that is?
Yes. It's the ship of a man called Columbus. A man who has found a new land and sails again to find more.
Do we sail together, Red Baker?
No, Benjamin. He sails west to begin a new world. We sail east to make the best of an old one.
I hope he finds it, Red Baker.
For what, Benjamin? To bring it the intolerance and the inhumanity of the old world?
No, not that. But perhaps it will give him something to take back to the old world.
What, Benjamin? A sense of justice?
Perhaps, Red Baker. Perhaps that, or something my father once said was nearly as good. A sense of mercy.
Come away, boy. Lie down on the deck and cover yourself with your rags. It's only a dream.
Copies of the script you have just heard may be obtained free of cost by writing to the Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York, 27, New York. And now we present Cantor Robert H. Siegel singing two traditional Passover melodies.
Ben David, Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu Bekarov, Bimhera, Biyamenu Bekarov, Ebne Betcha Bekarov, Ebne Betcha Bekarov.
The Eternal Light is written by Morton Wishengrad. The music is composed by Henry Brandt and conducted by Milton Catons. Our soloist was Cantor Robert H. Siegel of the Beacon Street Temple, Brookline, Massachusetts. Roger de Koven appeared as Baruch Halevi and Bernard Lenrow as the narrator. The entire production was under the direction of Ira Avery. We wish to thank the NBC University of the Air for permission to repeat today's script, which was based on a story first heard on the historical series Lands of the Free. This program has been brought to you as a public service of the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations in cooperation with the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. For free copies of the script, write to the Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York, 27, New York. program came to you from New York City. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually in the tabernacle of the congregation. And it shall be a statute forever in your generations.
The Eternal Light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations bring you The Eternal Light. This public service program is presented under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Our story today, written by Morton Wishengrad, is entitled The Seed and the Dream, and features Louis Van Rooten as Theodore Herzl. Following the dramatic portion of the program, you will hear a talk by Judge Morris Rothenberg.
What do you want?
Excuse me for troubling you. My name is David.
Well?
Perhaps you don't understand. I'm Benjamin David.
What about it?
But didn't they tell you?
Didn't who tell me what?
You're living in my house.
None of that, my friend. This house belongs to me. I paid the Germans 60,000 marks for it. I've got a bill of sale.
You bought my house from the Germans?
Yes, that's right. I bought this house during the occupation. They sold it to me.
But they sold what wasn't theirs to sell, nor yours to buy.
Oh, my own house was bombed. A man has to have a place to live, doesn't he? 60,000 marks was everything I had. Do you have 60,000 marks?
No, I don't. Even if I had, why should anyone pay for what is already his?
You people certainly have a problem.
I don't like to be a problem.
Well, that's how war is.
Yes, you're right, sir. Only for you, the war seems to have stopped.
I wish I could help you, but you know how it is.
I know. I want you to know I don't have any grievance against you.
You're a generous man, Mr. David.
Am I? Well, perhaps it's easier for people who have nothing to be generous. Good day, sir.
Good day to you, Mr. David.
Benjamin David.
Yes?
Which road do you travel?
Any road, no road. What difference does it make?
I shall travel with you.
Thank you. Who are you, please?
My name is Theodore Herzl.
You mustn't mock me, sir. I can stand a good deal, but not to be mocked.
Still, my name is Theodore Herzl.
Theodore Herzl is dead.
Then don't draw away. Only the living harm you.
Dead or living, what's the difference? What's the use?
Stop pitying yourself. Self-pity is a misfortune worse than persecution.
What else have I left?
A memory, Benjamin David. 2,000 years of fire. If you are iron, you will immerse yourself in that fire and come out steel.
Very well, Theodore Herzl. I own a memory.
Yes, and something else beside. A hope. And between memory and hope stands the deed.
Yes? Tell me, Theodore Herzl. What is the deed?
Can you hear him, Benjamin David? He sings the promise of Zion, the prophecy of Ezekiel, the daily pledge of the prayer book. It is a dream which sprouts like green grass between cement stones. From under the twisted girders of broken cities it emerges. It rises on the four winds. Yes, even between the aisles of the graves of Germany and Poland, the dream breathes. Behold, I will open your graves, saith the Lord, and I will bring you into the land of Israel. They will tell you it is a myth. Do not believe them. For if you will it, it is no myth. Take it in your hand like a seed and entrust it to the soil. Let the dream become the seed of projects. And if today it is not bread, it will be tomorrow's bread. Benjamin David, my living brother, I see a land of the seed and the dream. Sunlight and open cities, workers in the field, where Israel no longer is a sorrow, but instead a song. Benjamin David, how does a dream begin? In sleep. On a day in the year 1895, I, Theodore Herzl, Paris correspondent for the Neue Freie Press of Vienna, author, playwright, man of the world, was fast asleep. And on a day in January, I stood on the parade grounds of the École Militaire, beheld 4 soldiers conduct a man called Dreyfus before his commanding general.
Captain Alfred Dreyfus, you will hand your sword to the officer of the day.
Prisoner's sword, sir.
Alfred Dreyfus, you are unworthy to bear arms. In the name of the French Republic, I degrade you from your rank.
I, Alfred Dreyfus, solemnly swear that you are degrading an innocent man.
Officer of the day, let the sentence be carried out. Break his sword, tear away his insignia.
Yes, sir.
Tear it away, but I am no traitor. In your hearts, you know I am no traitor. You've sentenced me because I am a Jew.
Death to all the Jews!
That was a shout, my brother. A shout to awaken the sleepers. This was happening in the most civilized country in Europe. This was happening in modern, republican, enlightened France. And Austria was not modern. And Germany was not republican. And Poland was not enlightened. Pain, Benjamin David, is a process of education. The tear falls, and it is a peculiar juice. For where it falls, the soul arises. I could sleep no more, my brother. The night was long, and I was full of tossings to and fro. My flesh was clothed with worms, and I was consumed in the fire I did not create. I addressed a letter to the greatest Jewish philanthropist in Europe, and Baron Moritz de Hirsch answered. I went to speak to him.
I've admired your work, Mr. Herzl.
Thank you, Monsieur le Baron.
It is not an idle compliment, Herzl. You have a deft touch. What I admire about your plays are their lightness and sophistication.
Monsieur le Baron, I didn't come to discuss my plays.
So? What did you come for?
To propose a solution of the Jewish problem in Europe.
Very admirable. Is there a solution?
Yes. A publicly recognized, legally secured homeland in Palestine.
My dear man, you're on the wrong track. The poor among our people need to be provided with work, with food and clothing. That's the solution.
Monsieur le Baron, to be plundered as a Jew and to be protected as a Jew are equally shameful and humiliating.
Possibly. I do not argue with you. But you spin words. I spent millions on philanthropy.
Do you think you help with charity?
I think so, my dear Herzl.
You breed beggars, Monsieur le Baron. You bind the lazy poor to the lazy rich.
My dear sir, don't you think you're being rather presumptuous?
No. Your philanthropy is presumptuous. It is a condemnation to apathy, to submission.
Possibly. But your scheme is too simple and too fantastic.
Thank you, Monsieur le Baron. That's what any dream is. Simple and fantastic. Good day, sir.
Good day, my friend.
Baron Rothschild will see you, sir. Come this way.
Won't you sit down, Mr. Herzl?
Thank you, sir.
I have studied your letter very carefully.
Will you join with me?
I will not.
Why not, sir?
Because I do not like your plan.
Why not, sir?
Mr. Herzl, you cannot build without a firm foundation.
Baron Rothschild, I placed this book on your table. What holds the book up?
The table, naturally. That's just what I mean.
That's also what I mean. Little things like an apple or this book need a firm foundation to rest on, or else they fall.
Well, Herzl?
Sir, the earth swims in space and does not fall. The secret lies in movement. You cannot steer a ship that does not move, but you can steer movement.
Indeed. And you want to steer.
Oh, that doesn't matter. But someone has to teach our people impatience. 2,000 years are enough. Let the faint-hearted and the doctrinaire continue to drag the chains of servility and degradation.
Herzl, you will forgive me, I am sure, but I don't understand poetry. I understand tangible things.
I will forgive you, sir. But you do not forgive yourself.
What do you mean?
You tremble at the thought that you may be deprived of your rights, stripped of your possessions. You tremble because you are a special focus of contempt, and because you know that the situation will change only for the worse.
Perhaps. But I do not choose to commit myself.
You commit yourself when you hold yourself aloof. There are no neutrals in this world. I shan't take any more of your time. If you won't see this thing, if Baron de Hirsch won't, perhaps others will.
Herzl, do you always speak in riddles?
No, sir. But if you are untrue to yourself, you must not complain when others become untrue to you.
My dear Herzl, let me give you some advice. Be careful you do not become a fanatic.
No, Baron. A fanatic is a man who redoubles his efforts as he loses sight of his objective. I can never lose sight of my objective. It is the prophecy of Ezekiel, the 31st chapter of Jeremiah, the hot coal branded on the lip of Isaiah. I will never lose sight of that.
So, you are this new Tempest of Zion?
If you call me that, Your Majesty, I am.
Why do you come to this citadel of your enemies?
Because you are my enemy.
That's a good answer. Do you expect the German government to assist your Palestine venture?
Yes, Your Majesty.
You are hopelessly naive. Our Jews are convenient for us.
Is that why you persecute them?
Oh, come, the Hohenzollerns are civilized men. We persecute no one. It's merely that our nation is somewhat less civilized.
Yes, Your Majesty.
To be sure. As I say, our Jews are convenient. A convenient outlet for any resentment against the government. When trouble starts, there are always your people to blame. You'd be surprised how many revolutions it avoids. You see that, don't you?
I'm afraid I do.
Incidentally, my friend, how do you expect to lead your people to the promised land?
The way Moses led them, with a hymn.
Between us, my dear Herzl, you're talking of a flag. What is a flag? A bit of colored rag tacked to the end of a stick?
Men die every day for such rags and such sticks.
You're very amusing. I like you, Herzl. I'd even like to help you. Too bad, isn't it? It's impossible. You're really such a great convenience.
Benjamin David, where are you?
Here. Theodore Herzl. Listen to the wind. It blows cold.
You haven't understood what I'm saying. This is a road to be traveled. Walk further. Walk to the end, Benjamin David. The road winds over the borders and beyond the seas to Zion.
A man can't walk a road by himself.
I am with you, Benjamin David.
But you are dead.
In Poland, in France, in Romania, even in Germany, there are some that are not dead.
They might just as well be dead. Homeless like me. What's the good of it all? To endure, to suffer, to see yourself liberated. And for what? For further misery.
Stop pitying yourself. Get up and march.
I'm too weary.
You can't march. At least stand. Stand on your feet.
All right. I'm standing. But the wind is still cold.
Face it. Stand into the wind and open your prayer book.
What for?
Benjamin David, I remind you who you are. Open your prayer book and read. On your feet and read the words.
O Lord, sound the great horn for our freedom. Lift up the ensign to gather our exiles. And to Jerusalem, thy city, return in mercy. Rebuild it soon as an everlasting building, and speedily set up therein the throne of David. Blessed art thou, O Lord, who rebuildest Jerusalem. I have finished.
You are not finished. You cannot be abject in prayer. The word is not to be denied. The word, Benjamin David, is Torah Chaim, the living word and the living law that is no longer imprisoned in a book.
Yes. You are right, Theodore Herzl. I shall walk further. Let us go on.
Yes, let us go on, with the words of the daily prayer of Israel again in your ear. Let us traverse the bridge from the memory to the hope, from the dream to the seed and the fruit of the seed, and travel as straightforward men. Benjamin David, your progress will be laborious and full of affliction, but prove your courage and your steadfastness, for you cannot repudiate your bond. I took the first step, Benjamin David, in the year 1897. I met with Max Nordau to begin the deed that stands between the memory and the hope.
You're sure about this, Herzl?
We will call a Congress, the first Congress since the dispersion.
They will say you're mad. You're going to publish openly to the world that the problem of the Jewish people must be solved by the Jewish people.
Yes, Nordau. A people striving for existence, for honor, for liberty. A people who wish to mount to a higher grade of civilization, to forge an opening for the coming of social justice, who wish to weave progress for mankind on the loom of their suffering.
You'll be opposed, Herzl?
Yes, we will be opposed by our own people, but not by our poor who are naked in their desperation. And no doubt to achieve anything at all is difficult for those who are not a little desperate. Issue the call for the Congress.
A full delegation from the United States.
Good, they can help train us for freedom.
The Tsarist government refuses passports to the Russian delegation.
Tell them to come anyhow.
Romania, Austria, Hungary, and Bulgaria have accepted.
It's shaping up, Nordau. It will be a Congress.
Here's more. Holland, Belgium, the Scandinavian countries, and Palestine.
We have written to the city of Munich, Herzl. Permission to hold the Congress there should come in 2 days.
Has word come from Munich?
Yes. The city of Munich has offered us a hall and has given us welcome.
Good. Nordau, we'll leave tonight and make the necessary preparations.
I think you had better not, Herzl.
Better not, did you say?
Yes. The Jewish community of Munich has just petitioned the municipal government to rescind its invitation.
This is a bad time to joke.
No, it's true. They think it might offend their good neighbors.
But the Bavarian government approves, you say?
Nevertheless, the Jewish community opposes holding the Congress in Munich.
Herzl, we can fight anyone but our own people. They must be insane.
Don't be upset, Nordau. These people go to their synagogues every day. They recite the prayer for Zion in God's name, but they mean anything but Zion. It's curious how men will belong to Judaism and fight it at the same time.
What are we to do?
Transfer the Congress to Basel, Switzerland. There's still time, Nordau.
Herzl, I'm remembering what you said to Baron Rothschild. If you become untrue to yourself, you must not complain if others become untrue to you.
Benjamin David, the greatest happiness is to be what a man is, to hide behind no mask, to learn how to honor a man without arrogance, to respect the meaning of past generations, and to live with dignity. Where are the assimilated Jews of Munich, Benjamin David? Be careful as you walk the road, or you tread on their unmarked graves. The trail is steeped in blood. How many disasters are needed to prove it?
Why do you stop, Theodor Herzl?
I have taken you as far as I can go. It is as far as I went during my life. From here, you must go yourself.
I understand.
Do you understand, Benjamin David? You must, you know. For you are a symbol, and we live and we die for symbols, and the bit of rag that we tie to a stick.
Yes, I understand.
That's good. Remember that before you may come to the land of Zion, you must first come to Judaism.
I shall remember.
Good. Now you are standing, and before a people can march, it must learn to stand.
Theodor Herzl, a wind is blowing. It is your legend.
No, it is the voice of Ezekiel and the sentence of Jeremiah. Rachel weeping for her children, and the Lord answering, "Thy children shall return to their own border, for there is hope for thy future." Say to the world, Benjamin David, say it for me and for yourself. Let there be prayers in our synagogues, but in the churches also, because all have suffered from an ancient oppression. Let the idea radiate until it reaches the last wretched remnants of our people. Let them awaken from their dull brooding. Let a new content come into their lives. Let the word be repeated. Israel will live again on his own soil and die peacefully in his own homeland, and the world will be enriched by his liberation. He will become a great people, and the world will become greater for his greatness. And that which he seeks, and that which he shall find, will stream out mightily and beneficently upon all mankind.
Copies of the script you have just heard, as well as the talk which follows immediately, may be obtained free of cost by writing to the Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York 27, New York. And now we present a brief message by Judge Morris Rothenberg, President of the Jewish National Fund and former President of the Zionist Organization of America. Judge Rothenberg.
Theodor Herzl, the central figure of the dramatic episode to which you have just listened is one of the immortals of Jewish history, leader and emancipator of his people, whose guiding thought is as valid today as it was when he first uttered it half a century ago. From the literary salons of Vienna and Paris, this aristocratic man of letters and courageous figure strode forth to champion the cause of his people, not merely to speculate upon the Jewish problem of homelessness or to proclaim national solidarity, but publicly to declare before the peoples and sovereigns of the world that the Jews were a national entity with a claim to a homeland and a corporate, creative life of their own. It is this public avowal of the age-long dream of the Jewish people, this mystic hope that had burned within them through the centuries to reconstitute their national life on their ancestral soil in Palestine, which is perhaps the most important contribution of Theodor Herzl to the evolution of the Jewish spirit. Before his advent, that spirit was humble, self-effacing, inhibited. He it was who gave it expression, who directed to it the attention of the non-Jewish world, and this brought the Jewish masses to a recognition of their own national dignity and the world to an understanding of the Jewish problem. The movement for Jewish colonization in Palestine had indeed started on a small scale several decades before Herzl's appearance, but it was left for the genius of Theodor Herzl to see the problem in its totality, to formulate the vision and to fashion the instruments of statecraft and popular action, which would ultimately translate that vision into actuality. The charter for a Jewish Palestine which Herzl asked proved to be unattainable during his lifetime, and so the great burden which he so eagerly assumed broke his heart. Herzl died in 1904 at the age of 44. Less than a decade and a half after his death, his great dream partially came true. The Balfour Declaration, and subsequently the League of Nations mandate, to which 52 nations became signatories, created the political and legal foundations for the Jewish national home, which he so ardently sought and labored for. Today, the world is on the threshold of a new era that may bring universal peace and freedom to all peoples. The Jewish people, too, look to those who will reshape the world for that decision which will translate the dream of Herzl into final reality, thus righting an ancient wrong and fulfilling the word of prophecy.
Thank you, Judge Rothenberg. The Eternal Light is written by Morton Wishengrad. The musical score was composed by Henry Brandt and conducted by Milton Catons. Cantor David Putterman was the soloist. Louis Van Rooten appeared as Theodor Herzl and Joe DeSantis as Benjamin David. The entire production was under the direction of Ira Avery. This program came to you as a public service of the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations, under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Free copies of the script may be obtained free of cost by writing to The Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York 27, New York. This program came to you from New York City. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually in the tabernacle of the congregation. And it shall be a statute forever in your generations.
The Eternal Light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations present The Eternal Light. This public service program comes to you under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Our story today, written by Morton Wishengrad, features Isabel Merson as Henrietta Szold. Following the dramatic portion of the program, you will hear a talk by Mrs. Moses P. Epstein.
In the valley of Jezreel, a Kaddish is sung today for Henrietta Szold. Where the Jaffa road is stored with anemones, the children are gathered to say the mourner's prayer. North in Galilee and south in Hebron, and eastward to the Salt Sea, the voices of the children are rising. Yiskadal ve'yiskadash, Shemei Rabo. They were the unbefriended, and then she came. Now they sing the Kaddish for her. For they were the forsaken children of Europe, the offscourings of Germany, and it was she who made for them a sanctuary in Zion. In Petach Tikva it is April, and in Tiberias a nightingale will linger in the sky. But the children say, Yiskadal ve'yiskadash, for this is the long season of their emptiness and their remembering. Can 5 words create a legend? Perhaps you will not think so. In the year 1912, Mr. Nathan Strauss could not foresee the legend. Nevertheless, he stared with amusement at the tip of his cigar and uttered the 5 words.
Miss Henrietta Szold of Hadassah.
Well, Mr. Strauss?
I know you, Henrietta, but what's Hadassah?
We met on Purim. Esther's name in Hebrew is Hadassah, so we called our women's organization Hadassah. It's very simple.
Oh, I see. Now that your organization has a name, what do you do with it?
Jeremiah 8:22.
Henrietta, are you going to make me get up and hunt through my Bible, or are you going to tell me?
Oh, I'll tell you.
Well?
Is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? Why, then, is not the health of the daughter of my people recovered?
All right, Henrietta. You've given me the text like a good rabbi's daughter. Now deliver the sermon.
There isn't any sermon, Mr. Strauss. My mother and I visited the Jewish settlements of Palestine. We saw a land that was barren and treeless and fantastically beautiful. But we saw Jewish mothers dying in childbirth. We saw infants spindly with rickets. And we saw children whose eyes were granular with disease.
And you want to do something about it?
Yes. Visiting nurses first. Then a nurses' training school. Then hospitals.
How much money have you raised?
$283.
Well, I shouldn't laugh, should I?
You're quite right. It sounds ridiculous. But we're just a handful of women, and we gave what we could.
Why don't you ask me for help, Henrietta?
I can only explain a need. If you see it and feel an obligation to help, we'll be grateful.
God bless you, Henrietta. You ask for help proudly. That's the way it should always be done. I'm glad to help. With you and Hadassah. Someday there may be balm in Gilead.
Nathan Strauss's help was passage for 2 American nurses. During the years of the First World War, other nurses followed, and then a small contingent of American doctors. The work was slow and painful and heartbreaking, but it did not falter. In 1920, Henrietta Szold paid a last visit to her native Maryland and set sail for Palestine. And she came into a land befallen with sickness.
That's the enemy, Miss Szold. Don't let her sting you.
I shan't, Dr. Rubno.
Yes, the Anopheles mosquito. That's the enemy. One dead mosquito, and there are billions alive. Medical services are crippled, the whole staff working on malaria. I'm almost ready to quit, Miss Szold.
You need some rest, Dr. Rubno.
I need more assistance, that's what I need. Why, I'm sorry I didn't mean to bark at you. Thank God you've come, Miss Szold. You've got plenty to do.
I'm Reva, Miss Szold. I'll show you around.
Thank you, Reva. But I'd rather study these charts for now.
Miss Szold, I'll tell you something that isn't on the chart.
Yes?
300 immigrants came through the port of Jaffa last week. Less than 100 are still standing.
Malaria?
Over 200 of them. Chills and fever and the terrible sweat, and chills and fever all over again. They burn inside and the skin gets blue and cold. The land isn't worth it, Miss Szold. It just isn't worth it.
And ye shall be as a terebinth whose leaf fadeth, and as a garden that hath no water. And the strong shall be as tow, and his work as a spark. And they shall both burn together, and none shall quench them.
Yes, that's it. It's just as it says. Why did you come here, Miss Szold?
Because in the same verse of Isaiah it is written, And I will turn my hand upon thee, and purge away thy drosses with lye. And thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, and Zion shall be redeemed with justice.
You say the words as though they were written on the chart.
They are written on the chart, Reva. In my heart, I know they are.
There is no birth without pain, and this was a land in the making. For 13 years, Henrietta Szold traveled from Hebron to Galilee, and as she grew older, she seemed to work more, and more was given her to do. A time came when the Jewish settlements were no longer scourged by malaria, and children no longer sickened and died in their mother's arms. 13 ripe years for Henrietta Szold, and a land regenerated by the sweat of the new builders who came to Zion from the many nations. She smiled with satisfaction and made her decision. She sent for her new assistant.
What have I done now, Miss Szold?
Nothing at all, Doctor. Won't you sit down?
If it's about that epidemic in the Safed hospital, it just wasn't our fault. Some things can't be helped.
Won't you sit down, Doctor?
Aren't you going to scold me?
Should I?
Of course. That epidemic was sheer negligence on our part.
I never scold anyone, Doctor.
No, of course not. You just look at us and ask questions, and we scold ourselves.
Please be a good fellow and sit down. I have something to tell you.
All right. Well?
I've packed my things. I'm leaving. I want you to be in charge.
Miss Szold, I'm afraid I don't understand.
It's simple enough. I'm going home.
America?
Maryland.
But I thought you were happy here.
I'm 72 years old, Doctor. 72 years old and homesick.
I think I can understand that.
I wonder, Doctor. You've never seen the woods in Maryland in the autumn.
But I don't know what I'm going to tell the staff.
Well, then tell them Miss Szold is tired of being an executive. Tell them I'm going back to America. I'm going to luxuriate in being old and decrepit, and I'm going to let my sisters cuddle me. And I'm going to kiss every blessed tree in Maryland.
There. The bags are locked, good and tight.
Thank you, Rita.
Shall I answer it, Miss Szold?
No, it's probably for me. Hello?
Miss Szold?
Yes?
There's an emergency meeting of the Bayard Lumi. Can you come right away?
But I sent my resignation to the executive committee.
I know. Can you come right away?
You can't neglect that resignation. I'm really going home.
Have you listened to the radio, Miss Szold?
I don't even own a radio.
Well, it's on all stations. Adolf Hitler has just taken power in Germany.
Thank you for calling me. I'll be at the meeting.
I heard what he said.
Did you, Rita?
It couldn't come. But it has. Miss Szold, what's going to happen? Where will the German Jews go? Every door is tight against them.
Every door but Palestine. Today, Rita, Zionism has justified itself.
Makes me want to cry. God in heaven, why do we have to be an eternal scapegoat?
I don't know. I don't believe anyone knows. That's the worst of it. How can you remove a cause for persecution that cannot even be explained? Rita, will you help me unpack my bags?
Henrietta Szold unpacked her bags. She was beyond the 70 of the psalmist's term of life. But in the decade of the annihilation of reason, even the aged may have no certitude, no comfort, no rest. A storm broke over Europe, and darkness fell. And Zion prepared to receive the fugitives, while it turned to Henrietta Szold for direction.
David, I'll depend on you for the census. Every cooperative and agricultural colony must be canvassed at once. Find out how many refugees they can conveniently take, and then ask them to double the number.
All right. I'll try, Miss Szold.
Shulamit.
Yes.
I'll expect you to be at Haifa. Take a battery of psychologists, if you have to, and test every incoming man and woman. We've got to place them in new occupations.
Are we going to make farm workers out of lawyers?
I don't know, but we have to prepare them for a struggle from which they will not be spared. Ben Aaron.
Yes?
I'd like you to go to Tel Aviv. We'll have to build temporary barracks to house them.
Where's the money going to come from?
That's right. Where's it going to come from?
Well, we shall do what we've always done. We will state the need, and they will give. I know that. Israel does not fail.
Thanks won't be much, Miss Zold, but good enough to keep out the rain.
Thank you, Ben Aaron.
I've worked up a schedule for refugee children. They'll get up at 6 and march them to the square. Give them 20 minutes of calisthenics and march them back for breakfast. Allow 15 minutes for the meal. Then...
Ben Aaron, these are refugees from Hitler, not to Hitler.
Huh?
Suppose you let them decide what they want to do.
But calisthenics are good for them.
Don't you hate despotism, Ben Aaron?
Excuse me, Miss Zold, but it's good for them.
The despotism that does good is even worse than the despotism that does evil.
I don't know.
You can recognize the despotism that works evil. You detest it, you resist it. But this other thing, this thing that passes for good, it suffocates you even while it gathers strength. Ben Aaron, when I was a little girl in Baltimore, my father used to say that it is the heart that leads the feet. Let's try my father's way.
To follow where the heart leads. This was enough for Henrietta Szold. Now, inevitably, her heart led to the children of Germany, whom Adolf Hitler had appointed for destruction. In 1934, Henrietta Szold cabled to American Hadassah, and the plan emerged for the Youth Aliga, the migration of the children out of Germany into Palestine. The detachments of the children, the pitiful brigades, began to come. But there were more who could not come. In her 75th year, almost in the hour when Adolf Hitler stood in Nuremberg and proclaimed the law of the pariah, Henrietta Szold stepped unobtrusively into Berlin.
The other blind men. Did anyone see you come here, Frau Szold?
No, Herr Seligson. I don't think so.
You were running, yes? Your cheeks are pink, Frau Szold. At 75, one does not run.
No, I didn't run, Frau Seligson.
She is right. Your cheeks are pink.
I suspect I'm a fool. But out there, I felt like the heroine of a novel.
So?
Oh, please forgive me. You got my note. You know why I'm here.
Yes, we know.
We have spoken to the entire congregation.
Good. And you will let me make arrangements to take your children away?
We all agree. 750 children, Frau Szold. We have decided that you should take them.
I wish it was in our power to take their fathers and mothers.
We know you can't.
I lived on a farm when I was a girl, Frau Szold. There were bad times, but no matter how bad, my father never let us eat the seed potatoes. You cannot eat the seed. It must always be saved for the new planting.
You're a very brave woman, Frau Seligson.
Am I? I'm a mother. With you, my children will be safe. Thank you. You see, we have met, we have talked, we have given you our children, and we have not wept, Frau Szold, because our children will not be motherless. You will be their mother. I will kiss you now, please, and in Palestine, you will kiss them for me.
She returned to Palestine, and 750 children followed. The youth migrations continued, and the new tide began from Poland, and then from Czechoslovakia, the Netherlands, France, Denmark, Romania. A heart-breaking, agonizing byproduct of war. The hair was whiter on her head now. The voice was more gentle. She was 80 years old, but she did not flinch. The children came. 10,000 children. Children who made no sound and did not smile.
What is your name?
Clara.
How old are you, please?
Clara.
Is that all you can say? Won't you answer me, Clara? Well, that's all right. You don't have to answer.
She's been like that since she came.
Yes, I know. Clara, I have something for you. Please take it. The doll is for you. It's yours to play with.
Mine?
Yes, to keep.
There. That's a good girl. Now come with me, Clara, and we'll play together. Miss Szold, you'd better come.
Is she sick?
No, she's playing. She dug a hole in the sand. You'd better see for herself. She's playing with her doll.
All right, I'll come.
Rest in peace, Dolly. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Dolly. Rest in peace.
She keeps burying the doll and saying that. Stop her, Miss Szold.
No, Reva. She all plays the life she knows. Let her alone.
I can't stand it. Please forgive me, but I can't stand it. I just can't stand it.
Rest in peace, Dolly. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Dolly. Rest in peace.
Miss Szold.
You have nothing to be ashamed of, Reva.
Well, I'm sorry I broke down. She's crying over the doll now.
That's good.
Is it?
Yes. It's good for her to cry. The tears will cleanse her the way salt cleanses meat. Tears can heal Reva. If she'll take it later, give her something to eat and then put her to bed. I'll try to see her before she goes to sleep. Will you do something for me, Clara?
Yes.
When I was a little girl, my mother taught me a night prayer. I used to say it every night.
I used to say it, too.
Then say it with me, Clara. Say it with me now.
All right.
Blessed art thou, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who makest the bands of sleep to fall upon mine eyes and slumber upon mine eyelids. May it be thy will, O Lord my God, and God of my Father, to suffer me to lie down in peace, and to let me rise up again in peace. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Good night, Clara.
Good night. Miss Szold.
Yes, Clara?
What will we do tomorrow?
Anything you wish.
Anything?
Yes, Clara. Tomorrow you can do anything you have the heart to do. Tomorrow belongs to you.
In the valley of Jezreel, the Kaddish is sung today, the immemorial prayer of the mourners. For 2 months ago, the word came down Mount Scopus that Henrietta Szold laid dead in her 84th year. Yiskadal ve-Yiskadash Shemei Rabo. 2 months ago, no signal was given, but streaming toward Jerusalem came a vast concourse of children,
offscourings and pariahs of Europe, the new children of Zion. From Galilee in the north they came, and westward to Jerusalem from the Salt Sea, children in the thousands holding each other by the hand, streaming across Palestinian highways. They will sing the Kaddish for a long season, for the end of mourning is not at hand. Yet it will come. And to one another the children of Henrietta Szold will say in Zion, O house of Jacob, come ye, and let us walk in the light of the Lord.
Copies of the script you have just heard, as well as the talk which follows immediately, may be obtained free of cost by writing to the Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York, 27, New York. And now we present a brief talk by Mrs. Moses P. Epstein, National President of Hadassah. Mrs. Epstein.
The healing of the daughter of my people. This is the motto which Henrietta Szold found in the book of Jeremiah 33 years ago, and gave to Hadassah as a symbol and a goal. In this phrase can be found the cue to the amalgam which was her life. It speaks for us still of the clarity of her mind, the greatness of her heart, the richness of her faith in Judaism. Visionary, fighter, organizer. She was above all else a healer of the daughter of her people. Henrietta Szold believed passionately in the resurgence of the Jewish people in Palestine, their ancient home. And when the Balfour Declaration was issued after the last war, when the masses began to return to Eretz Yisrael, she knew that to make that homecoming good, the country must be reborn as a healthy and democratic land. We know now how well she built. We see now when our people, decimated by homelessness and suffering, reduced by starvation and murder, lift their faces once again to the land of their fathers, that the warmth of her faith has been sown as a seed on the hills and in the valleys which nourished that faith centuries ago. In every colony and on every street in Palestine today walk young men and women, growing boys and girls who were like saplings broken in the storm, who might have been blighted and thrown on the dust heap of the world, but for her. In every corner of Eretz Yisrael there stands some sign of the work of this American woman. A great medical center outside of Jerusalem, near to that Mount of Olives where she lies at rest. Welfare stations, playgrounds, kitchens, schools, homes and colonies for refugee children, forests planted in her name, institutions grounded on her principles. These are the palpable results of her faith. Henrietta Szold taught Hadassah that the good builder lays foundations which will not tremble under the feet of generations yet to come. She showed us how Palestine must be ready for the job it is doing today, for the gathering in, the healing, the teaching, the social and economic fusion of those multiple currents which are the Jewish people. If Palestine has taken in more Jewish exiles than any other land, if Palestine has succeeded almost miraculously in healing the wounds of the remnant of Jewish youth, if Palestine is ready to become a member of the family of nations, then we owe much of this in no small measure to that frail, that dauntless, that human and humorous, that wise and passionately dedicated daughter in Israel, Henrietta Szold.
Thank you, Mrs. Epstein. The Eternal Light is written by Morton Wishengrad. The music was composed by Henry Brandt and conducted by Milton Cadens. Isabel Merson appeared as Henrietta Szold, and Alexander Scorby was the narrator. Cantor David Putterman sang the liturgical music. The entire production was under the direction of Ira Avery. This program came to you as a public service of the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations and was presented under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Free copies of the script may be obtained by writing to The Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York, 27, New York. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually in the tabernacle of the congregation. And it shall be a statute forever in your generations.
The Eternal Light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations bring you The Eternal Light. This public service program is presented under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Our story today by Morton Wishengrad commemorates the Scholars' Festival of Lag BaOmer, which is associated with the great sage Akiba ben Joseph. Featured in the title role of Rabbi Akiba is Edgar Staley. Following the dramatic portion of the program, you will hear a talk by Dr. Armand E. Cohen.
Prisoner rise.
The prisoner will rise and face the court.
I, Tinius Rufus, governor of Judea, by the power vested in me by Hadrian, Caesar of the Roman Empire, do pronounce sentence on you, Rabbi Akiba ben Joseph, elder of the Sanhedrin of Israel.
Prisoner, are you ready to hear the sentence?
I am.
It is my sentence, Akiba ben Joseph, that you be flayed and that you be scourged until you are dead.
Does he know any reason why the sentence of this court should not be executed?
I do not question the sentence of the court.
Have you anything you wish to say, Akiba? Some final word?
Thank you, Tinius Rufus. Yes. I have a final word I wish to say.
You may proceed.
An old man with the sound of eternity in his ears, speaking a final word. It is strange. On my lips there is praise of God. In your hands there is a sword. My lips and your hands. Why do you slay me? It is a question, not an entreaty. Is it for what I have done? I have done nothing except to study the law of God. Is it for what I have taught? I have taught that the worship of God is an expression of love and justice. Did that offend you, Tinius Rufus? Yet you were offended. We sat at the Academy of Yavne, the elders of Judea, studying, handing down the oral law of Israel. And we were content, despite the presence of the Roman legions in our land. But you were not content. No. I remember when it began. That night we slumbered. We were at peace. Then the horsemen came, and the sleepers were wakened.
Master, wake up! Wake up, everyone! The time for sleeping is done. Awaken!
What is it, Simeon?
Hurry, Master. Summon the elders, the disciples.
What's wrong?
Judah and I. We come from Caesarea.
Wait, I shall come.
Hurry, Rabbi Akiba, hurry.
Joshua Hagasi, quickly a candle. Rouse the academy.
Elders of Israel, evil tidings from Caesarea. We meet now by moonlight.
We are all gathered. Simeon Bar Yochai, what is the news from Caesarea?
Master, instruct us.
It is for you to instruct us, Simeon. We are listening.
Sages of Israel, yesterday in Caesarea, Tenius Rufus issued a new proclamation. From this day, the covenant of Abraham is denied to our newborn sons. Circumcision is forbidden.
Tenius Rufus will be made to see that he wrongs us.
Wait, that is not all. Observance of the Sabbath is forbidden, and all the festivals. Master, instruct us. What shall be done?
Rabbi Ishmael, do you wish to speak?
Yes, Rabbi Akiba. How long? How much longer? Is this the first affront? Is this the 10th affront? How long do we abide in the land and remain slaves to the Caesars?
The commandment is for peace, Ishmael. Your counsel is for war.
And why not?
No, Ishmael. I am ready to die for the Torah. But do not ask us to kill for the Torah.
Joshua, will you transgress the law of the Sabbath?
You know I will not. I will keep the Sabbath.
They'll kill you for it.
If God so wills, I shall be killed.
Before God, are you craven? Have you courage only to endure, only to submit, only to yield? Is there no courage to defend? Judaism no longer needs martyrs, it needs soldiers.
Ishmael, you are overwrought. It is for us to love peace and to pursue peace. What hope is there for the world when scholars plead for war? We are men of learning, the last stronghold of reason and intellect. Shall we confess our lives a failure?
If we vanquish the enemy, we are not a failure.
Ishmael, when the dead lie unburied in the open pit, who is the victor and who is the vanquished?
It does not matter. If we die, we shall not die alone.
Ishmael, you forget so soon. Thou shalt not take vengeance, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord, and ye shall keep my statutes.
I will not listen, Akiba. Do what you wish. I go to the hills. I join Simeon Bar Kokhba.
To make rebellion, Rabbi Ishmael?
To make war, Joshua. Akiba, do you come?
No.
Then you will stay and rot here.
No, not that either. I must go to Tenius Rufus. I will explain that we are of peaceful intent. He will understand, and he will alter his attitude toward us and treat us with reason. I came to you, Tenius Rufus. Do you remember? Yes, I came to you and I said that the world was ruled by kindness, and that the merit of man consisted in the multitude of good deeds. You nodded your head, Tenius Rufus. Why did you nod your head? I believed you then to be a man like other men. It was wrong of you to deceive me. You spoke so gently and so honorably. Was it to mock me, Tenius Rufus? Your smile was amiable. You took my hand. We spoke. You asked a question. Do you remember, Tenius Rufus? Do you remember the question you asked?
A very apt reply, Rabbi Akiba. Tell me, why does your people place so much emphasis on charity?
What are the gifts we can make to God? Charity to the poor.
Ah, but you are not giving to your God. You give to the poor.
He that is gracious to the poor lendeth to the Lord.
I don't understand your God. I like a God I can see, like this one. Now, that's a handsome God.
I see only an idol made of wood.
He is good enough. If your God is so powerful, why doesn't he come down and smash these idols?
Tenius Rufus, What other gods do you worship?
You evade my question.
No. What other gods do you worship?
The sun, the moon, the planets, the stars. Why do you ask, Akiba?
Don't you see, if the only idols worship the things of clay or wood, God might destroy them. But you worship the sun and the stars. Shall God destroy his entire world because some men are foolish?
Rabbi Akiba, I have met many sages of Israel, but you are the most learned and the most humble. Be proud, Rabbi Akiba. I don't believe in false modesty.
Phineas Rufus.
Yes?
Out there, lying in the road. What do you see?
Nothing but a dead cat. Run over by a chariot, no doubt. I'll see that the carcass is removed.
Phineas Rufus, he who glories in the knowledge of the law, is like to the carcass of an animal which lies in the road. It attracts the attention of all, it is true. But whoever passes by puts his hand to his nose and turns away.
And are you a live cat, Rabbi Akiba? And I a mouse? Let us stop playing. What do you want?
I see I have misjudged you, Phineas Rufus.
I have not misjudged you. What do you want?
I have not dissimulated. I want what I told you I want. I had believed that you understood.
Power is the only thing I understand. My laws remain, you hear?
You will force our people into rebellion.
Exactly. And we will know how to take care of them. Especially this rebel Bar Kokhba.
It was stupid of me not to see that, wasn't it?
Very stupid. You still want to talk to me about the law of kindness and charity of your God?
No, Phineas Rufus, not to you. The Emperor Hadrian has come to Antioch. Perhaps he will listen.
Ha, 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 ha.
My dear Rabbi Akiba, there is nothing I detest quite so much as a fool. I shall have to admonish Phineas Rufus.
Thank you, Caesar.
Oh, don't misunderstand my motives. I am not concerned with what you call justice. I want to maintain the Roman Empire. You don't maintain an empire by antagonizing your subjects.
You are very wise, Caesar.
Thank you, Rabbi. My friend, I noticed on my tour of inspection that Jerusalem is completely laid waste. I shall have it rebuilt.
Caesar, he who gives delight to his fellow creatures also gives delight to God.
Very nice. My respects to your God. Oh, yes, your temple, the one Titus destroyed. A simpleton. We shall rebuild it for you.
Blessed art thou, O Lord, who hast brought me to this day.
Come, Rabbi Akiba, don't anticipate. I shall have the temple rebuilt. To Jupiter, naturally.
Caesar, you do not know what you are saying.
You will get used to it. It's a fine gift.
A poisoned gift, Caesar.
What a curious people. I promise to rebuild Jerusalem. Isn't that enough?
Do not defile our holy sanctuary.
Curious. You are more concerned about your theology than your bread.
I plead with you, Caesar. If Jupiter is placed on Mount Moriah, blood will be shed.
Let's not discuss it, Rabbi. I like the idea.
Caesar, I entreat you. Do not desecrate our holiest symbol. Blood will be shed over it.
Whose blood, my friend? Isn't that the question?
Rabbi Ishmael, do you ride to the hills with me?
I am ready, Bar Kokhba.
Here is your mount. There is no time to lose.
Akiba ben Joseph, bless me before I go.
You bless me by your going, Rabbi Ishmael.
I hope so. It's not easy for me to take up arms. All my life I have studied and preached for peace. Now there is an end of scholarship.
No, Ishmael. There is no end. What is a scholar of Israel but a warrior armed with the law of justice? Go, and God go with you, Ishmael.
Master, do you have a blessing for me?
I am dry with age, Bar Kokhba, and my hands are infirm. But let me touch your standard. There shall step forth a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite through the corners of Moab, and break down all the corners of Seth.
Thank you, Akiba ben Joseph.
Goodbye, Akiba. Bar Kokhba, I am ready.
That was your victory, Tinius Rufus. They rode forth to battle, and they did not return. The righteous perisheth, and no man layeth it to heart. And godly men are taken away, none considering that the righteous is taken away from the evil to come. Yes, Tinius Rufus, they died before the evil to come. How many did your legions slaughter in 3 years, O governor of Judea? How many women and how many children? How many thousands did you enslave? How doth the city sit solitary that was full of people? How is she become as a widow? And even this was not enough for you.
Summon Rabbi Akiba.
Rabbi Akiba ben Joseph.
You summoned me, governor of Judea. I am here.
No greeting, Rabbi?
What do you want?
I expect a greeting, my friend.
Tinius Rufus, what do you want of me?
I respect your age, Rabbi. I shall overlook this discourtesy.
I ask you once more, what do you want?
Not too much discourtesy, Rabbi. I'm an impatient man. This is what I want. Read it.
You cannot do anything more to us. What is there to read?
Still stubborn. I shall read this to you. My proclamation.
Don't read it. Tell me what's in it.
Very well. A rebellious people must be punished. What have you left, Rabbi?
Nothing. Our festivals are prohibited. The Sabbath observance is forbidden. Our ceremonials are proscribed. Our warriors are dead. All we have left is the study of the law.
Rabbi, now you have nothing left. I forbid the study of the law of Moses. Your Torah is shut, tight, not to be opened. Be sure you understand me, Akiba ben Joseph. The penalty for violation of this order is death.
What are you waiting for? We are scholars. Let us study the law.
Will you instruct us, Master?
Yes, Joshua Hagasi. Will you begin?
Master, the penalty for study is death.
Scholars of Israel, I ask you to begin.
Akiba ben Joseph, we do not fear for ourselves.
Do you fear for me? I answer you with a parable. The fox came to the river bank and said to the fishes, "The fishermen are spreading their nets. Come to the dry land and you will be safe." But the fishes replied, "If in the water, which is our element, we are in danger, what will happen to us on the dry land, which is not our element?" Scholars, if there is no safety for us in the Torah, which is our home, how can we find safety elsewhere? Let us disdain secrecy. It is unworthy of us. Joshua Hagasi, I ask you to begin.
Balaam lifted up his eyes, and he saw it.
Why do you stop, my sons?
It is the signal, Akiba.
Continue with the text, Joshua Hagasi.
The Romans are coming.
Yes, they are coming, and they will find us and study. It is proper that they should find us this way.
Master.
Yes, my son.
Whatever befalls us, whatever happens to me, I want to tell you now.
Hush. Hush, my son.
At least let me tell you how much you have given to us.
I have given nothing. I have given you the fragrance that comes sweet from the citron, the light taken by one candle from another, the water drawn from a brook. I have lost nothing, and you have been sweetened by the odor of citron, and refreshed by the water, and increased by the light. And I am augmented and not diminished. Now, read on, Joshua Hagasi.
Akiba. Akiba.
Read on, my son.
And Balaam lifted up his eyes, and he saw Israel dwelling tribe by tribe. And the Spirit of God came upon him. And he took up his parable and said, How goodly are thy tents, O Jacob, thy dwellings, O Israel, as valleys.
Be composed, my son.
Akiba ben Joseph, there's still time for you to flee.
It is better to die at once than to flee from study.
Instruct us, master.
Hear me closely. The world is judged with mercy. The shop is open. The hand writes. Whosoever desires may come and borrow, but the collectors make their appointed rounds, and the payment cannot be evaded. The warrant is there. The judgment is correct, and everything is prepared for the feast.
Akiba ben Joseph?
Yes, Captain?
I place you under arrest.
Akiba ben Joseph, are you done?
I am done, Tinius Rufus.
Once again, Akiba ben Joseph, I pronounce sentence. You will be taken to your dungeon. At dawn tomorrow, you will be led forth and flayed and scourged until you are dead. Let the prisoner be removed.
Akiba ben Joseph.
Is it time, Tinius Rufus?
Not yet.
Then why have you come?
I cannot sleep.
Strange. I was asleep.
Perhaps it is not strange. Old man, if you had been born in Rome, you could have been my father. I would have been proud of such a father.
Thank you, my son.
You call me that?
If you were my age, I should call you brother. Did not he that made me in the womb make you? And did not one fashion us in the womb?
Akiba ben Joseph, I come to offer you a pardon. If you recant.
Pardon is for criminals, Tinius Rufus. It is I who should pardon you. I pardon you now.
Save your life, Akiba ben Joseph.
I cannot, my son.
You are accursed, Akiba ben Joseph. Your people is accursed.
Then let me be of the cursed, not he who curses. Let me be of them that are persecuted, not of them that persecute.
You will not change your mind?
No, Tinius Rufus. You have come in kindness. I shall ask you then for one small thing.
Whatever it is, Akiba ben Joseph, ask it.
Let Joshua Hargasi stand by my side tomorrow.
Nothing more?
No. Nothing more.
Very well. He shall stand by your side tomorrow. Is it done yet?
No.
He's so old. Why does it take so long?
I don't know.
Do you feel a pulse?
Yes.
Call me when the end comes.
And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might.
Akiba. Do you hear me, Akiba ben Joseph?
I hear you.
Give it up. Are you insensible to pain? Why don't you die?
All my life, Tinius Rufus, I have been waiting for the moment when I might truly fulfill the commandment. I have always loved the Lord with all my might and with all my heart. Now I know that I love him with all my life. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one.
Tinius Rufus.
Yes?
Come away.
No, not yet. I must wait.
You have your victory.
Can't you see Akiba Ben Joseph is dead? Present now a brief message from Dr. Armand Cohen, Rabbi of the Cleveland Jewish Center, who will speak to you from Cleveland.
Rabbi Akiba was flayed and scourged to death. Rufus did not have his victory. Rome conquered Jerusalem. Rome was not victorious. Brute force destroyed justice. Power does not endure. When men die for principles which are the very foundation stones of civilized life, it is they who have triumphed, even in death, for they have left memories to inspire future generations to fight another day. Akiba and his people Israel were the instruments of God, equal to the challenge to take up the fight for good against evil. Akiba was not an accident. He was the voice and conscience of Israel. The battle for justice, mercy, righteousness, the battle to civilize the world is endless. Each generation of men has produced its Akibas. Justice has sometimes won. Justice has sometimes lost. But the war goes on. In ancient Palestine, it was the sword against the word. In America in 1863, it was freedom against slavery. It was Abraham Lincoln against Tinius Rufus. Freedom won. In 1914, it was democracy against militarism. Wilson against Rufus. The outcome was deceptive. Democracy seemed to win, but lost. Militarism seemed to lose, but won. In 1933 in Berlin, fascism declared war upon humanity. Rufus was rising again. This time he wore the mask of Adolf Hitler. Who will win the victory now? The Battle of Berlin will not decide that issue. As the destruction of Jerusalem did not make Rome triumphant, so victory in Berlin will not determine the ultimate decision now. In the time of Akiba, it was Yavne that spoke the final word. Eternal life for Israel through the book. It was the lips of Akiba that proclaimed the final triumph of justice. In our time, in the city of the Golden Gate, the dead must speak and be heard if victory is to be ours. There the dead of Israel and the nations must find their Akiba. There the conscience of humanity directs its spokesman. Justice, justice shalt thou pursue.
Thank you, Dr. Cohen. The Eternal Light is written by Morton Wishengrad. The music is composed by Henry Bratt and conducted by Milton Catums. The liturgical music was sung by Cantor David Putterman. Akiba Ben Joseph was played by Edgar Staley. and Kermit Murdoch appeared as Tinius Rufus. The entire production was under the direction of Ira Avery. This program came to you as a public service of the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations, and was presented under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. If you would like a free copy of today's script, write to the Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York 27, New York. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually in the tabernacle of the congregation. And it shall be a statute forever in your generation.
The Eternal Light. The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations bring you The Eternal Light. This public service program is presented under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Our story today is Morton Wishengrads' adaptation of the Book of Ruth, and marks the approaching festival of Pentecost. Featured as Ruth is Charlotte Holland. Alexander Scorby is the narrator. Following the dramatic portion of the program, you will hear a talk by Dr. Louis M. Levitsky.
Now it came to pass, in the days when the judges judged, that there was a famine in the land. And a certain man of Bethlehem in Judah went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. And the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the name of his 2 sons Mahlon and Chilion. And they came into the country of Moab, and continued there. And Elimelech died, and Naomi was left and her 2 sons. And they took them wives of the women of Moab. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other was Ruth. And Mahlon and Chilion died, both of them. And the woman was left of her 2 children and of her husband. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law out of the place where she was, to return unto the land of Judah. And Naomi said unto her 2 daughters-in-law,
Orpah, Ruth, do not go any further with me.
No, Naomi. Ruth and I will go on.
My daughters, listen to me.
Yes, Naomi.
Return. Go no further.
Naomi, does your God have pleasure in loneliness?
Orpah, you will not be lonely. Go back to your mother's house. The Lord will deal kindly with you as you have dealt with the dead. And with me.
To go with you, Naomi. There's no rest, no place for us in Moab now that the husbands of our choice are dead.
Orpah, the Lord will grant you rest. Ruth, speak to your sister-in-law.
My cheek is smitten. How can I speak?
The land of Moab is the land of your people.
No longer, Naomi. We will return with thee unto thy people. Say so, my sister Orpah.
Yes, Naomi.
Why will ye go with me? Have I yet sons in my womb that they might be your husbands? I am too old to have a husband.
Should I even have a husband tonight and bear sons, would ye tarry for them till they were grown? Naomi, in the abundance of your kindness, can you not find one small place for me? Or for my daughters? Would you shut yourself off and have no husband? I am grieved for your sake. But turn back, my daughters, for the hand of the Lord is gone forth against me.
And they stood there in the road and lifted up their voices and wept. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law and returned to Moab. But Ruth cleaved unto Naomi and would not go. And Naomi was sorely troubled and spoke unto Ruth.
Do not weep, my daughters.
I have lost my husband. Shall I now lose my husband's mother?
You will find a new husband.
Will I find a new husband's mother like Naomi?
Ruth, behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people and unto her God.
They are no more my people and no more my God.
I must go to Bethlehem in Judah, and you must go back to Moab. Peace be with you, my daughter.
Entreat me not to leave thee and to return from following after thee.
But I must go.
Then whither thou goest, I will go. And where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. And where thou diest will I die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part thee and me.
When Naomi saw that Ruth was steadfastly minded to go with her, she left off speaking unto her. So they went until they came to Bethlehem. And it came to pass, when they were come to Bethlehem in Judah, that all the city was astir concerning them. And the women said,
Peace be with you, and with you peace. Is this Naomi? Call me not Naomi. But I remember it is your name. Henceforth, call me Mara. Yes, for the Almighty hath dealt very bitterly with me. I went out full, and the Lord hath brought me home empty.
Grieve no more, Naomi. This is a land that was formerly with famine, but now there is increase of corn. Do not grieve. You will see that it is good.
So Naomi returned, and Ruth her daughter-in-law, who came out of Moab. And they found that it was good in Bethlehem, for they came in the beginning of barley harvest. Now Naomi had a kinsman of her husband's, a mighty man of valor of the family of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz. And Ruth said unto Naomi,
Let me now go to the field and glean among the ears of corn.
And Naomi said unto Ruth,
Go, my daughter.
And she went, and came and gleaned in the field after the reapers. And her hap was to light on the portion belonging unto Boaz, who was of the family of Elimelech. And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem, and said unto the reapers,
The Lord be with you. The Lord bless you.
Then said Boaz unto his servant that was set over the reapers,
Whose damsel is this? That one yonder. He's unknown to me.
It is the Moabitish damsel that came back with Naomi.
I see.
She said, Let me glean, I pray you, and gather after the reapers. She's called Ruth. I thought it would do no injury to allow it.
You're right. I will speak with her.
Swing your thighs. There's much to be done.
Peace be with you, Ruth. I am called Boaz.
Yes, my lord.
Hear me, Ruth. Do not go to glean in any other field. Abide here fast by my maidens. No one will molest you here.
I thank you, Boaz.
When thou art athirst, go unto the vessels and drink of that which the young men have drawn.
Then Ruth fell on her face and bowed down to the ground, and said unto him,
Why have I found favor in thy sight that thou shouldst take cognizance of me, seeing that I am a foreigner?
And Boaz answered, and said unto her,
It hath fully been told me all thou hast done to thy mother-in-law, how thou hast left thy father and thy mother in the land of thy nativity, and art come unto a people that thou knewest not heretofore. The Lord recompense thy work, and be thy reward complete from the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings thou art come to take refuge.
Boaz, I who was cast down am raised up. Though I be not as one of thy handmaidens, thou hast comforted me and spoken to the heart of thy handmaid.
And she found favor in the eyes of Boaz. And he said unto her at mealtime,
Come hither and eat of the bread, and dip thy morsel in the vinegar.
And she sat beside the reapers, and they reached her parched corn, and she did eat and was satisfied, and left thereof. And when she was risen up to glean, Boaz commanded his young men, saying,
Let her glean even among the sheaves, and put her not to shame.
As you command, my lord.
One thing further.
Yes?
Also pull out some for her of purpose from the bundles. Leave it on the ground, and let her glean, and rebuke her not.
So she gleaned in the field until even. And she beat out that which she had gleaned, and it was about an ephah of barley. And she took it up and went into the city. And Naomi saw, and said to Ruth,
Where hast thou gleaned today? Blessed be he that did take knowledge of thee.
The man's name with whom I wrought today is Boaz.
Blessed be he of the Lord who hath not left off his kindness to the living and to the dead.
Then he is known to you?
The man is nigh of kin unto us, one of our near kinsmen.
Yea. He said unto me, Thou shalt keep fast by my young men until they have ended my harvest.
It is good, my daughter, that thou go out with his maidens, and that thou be not met in any other field.
So Ruth kept fast by the maidens of Boaz, to glean unto the end of barley harvest and of wheat harvest. And she dwelt with her mother-in-law. And Naomi her mother-in-law said unto her,
My daughter, shall I not seek rest for thee, that it may be well for thee?
My mother, I do not understand.
Is it not written that if brethren dwell together, and one of them die and have no child, that the husband's brother shall take her to wife and perform the duties of a husband's brother unto her?
But my husband's brother died, and there is no kinsman to obey the law.
Is not so as our kinsman?
Yes, Boaz is our kinsman.
Raise your eyes, Ruth, and regard me. Here is water. Wash thyself. Anoint thee. Put thy raiment upon thee.
But my mother...
Put on thy raiment, my daughter. Tonight there is the winnowing of the barley in the threshing floor. You will go there.
You are good, Naomi, my mother. In the morning will I order my prayers for thee. In the noonday I will bring thee my gleanings, and in
the even which is now, there is water for the washing, and clean raiment to put on. The crimson is in your face, my daughter.
My mother is pleased to death.
Attend me, Ruth. Get thee down to the threshing floor. But make not thyself known to the man until he shall have done eating and drinking. I will do what you wish. When he lieth down, mark the place where he shall lie, and thou shalt go in and uncover his feet, and lay thee down. But Naomi, I do not question. You will see my daughter. We will tell thee what thou shalt do. All that thou sayest unto me, I will do.
And Ruth went down to the threshing floor and did according to all that Naomi bade her. And when Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was merry, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of corn. And she came softly and uncovered his feet and laid her down. And it came to pass at midnight that the man was startled and turned himself. And behold, a woman lay at his feet. And Boaz said, Who art thou?
I am Ruth, thy handmaid. Spread therefore thy skirt over thy handmaid, for thou art a near kinsman.
Blessed be thou of the Lord, Ruth, my kinswoman. Thou hast shown more kindness at the end than at the beginning.
I have done as Naomi ordered me.
Do not fear, for all the men in the gate of my people do know that thou art a virtuous woman.
Again, Boaz.
I am a near kinsman, yet...
Have I offended?
No, Ruth. You could not offend. There is a kinsman nearer than I.
Oh.
Hurry this night. In the morning I shall speak with him.
You must?
Is it not the law? If he will perform unto thee the part of a kinsman...
Yes, Boaz.
Well, then he must do a kinsman's part. But if he be not willing to do the part of a kinsman to thee...
Yes, Boaz.
Then I will, Ruth.
I thank thee, Boaz.
Lie down and sleep. We shall see in the morning.
And she lay at his feet until the morning. And she rose up before one could discern another. For he said, Let it not be known that the woman came to the threshing floor. And he took her up and said to her,
Ruth.
Yes, my kinsman.
Bring the mantle that is upon thee.
Yes, Boaz.
Hold it. Spread it wide.
And she held her mantle before him, and he measured 6 measures of barley. And when she came to her mother-in-law, Naomi said,
Who art thou, my daughter?
Ruth still, my mother, but also the kinswoman of Boaz. He said, Go not empty to thy mother-in-law, and these 6 measures of barley did he give to me.
You have done well, my daughter.
Oh, no, Naomi, it is not well. There is a nearer kinsman. What if he should... Naomi, sit still, my daughter,
until thou know how the matter will fall.
But I cannot rest.
Neither will Boaz rest until he has finished the thing this day. Be patient, Ruth. You will see.
Now Boaz went up to the gate and sat him down there. And behold, the near kinsman of whom Boaz spoke came by. And Boaz said to him,
Peace be with you.
And with you, peace, Boaz. It is a good day.
Will you sit here with me? There's a matter of some discussion between us.
And the near kinsman turned aside and sat beside Boaz. And Boaz took 10 men of the elders of the city and said,
Elders, sit ye down here.
And they sat down. And Boaz said unto the near kinsman,
Naomi, that is come back out of the country of Moab, selleth the parcel of land which was our brother Elimelech's.
I am listening, Boaz.
You are his near kinsman.
I am.
And you know the law.
I do.
Well?
Yes, Boaz?
I thought to disclose it unto you.
Which is only proper.
So I thought.
You were saying, Boaz?
Then put it before them that sit here and before the elders of my people.
It is a thing to be considered.
Now, it is written in the law and confirmed, no doubt, by the judges and these wise elders.
Yes, I know the law, my kinsman. But what will you do?
Oh, patience, Boaz. As I began to say, it is written in the law and confirmed...
If thou wilt redeem it, and have done.
But, Boaz, my brother...
Kinsman, let thy yea be yea and thy nay be nay. If it will not be redeemed, then tell me that I may know.
I understand. If I do not redeem it...
Then I will, for I am after thee.
Seems there is a great heat over a simple parcel of land.
Kinsman, your answer.
Very well, Boaz. I will redeem it.
Oh.
Now, if the elders will permit, there are things for my attendance.
Kinsman, wait.
Yes, Boaz? Is there more?
What day thou buyest the field of the hand of Naomi.
Yes, Boaz?
Thou must also buy Ruth, the woman of Moab, she that was the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. Both must be redeemed.
Then I cannot do it.
You cannot?
No, Boaz, I would mar mine own inheritance. Take thou my right of redemption on thee, for I cannot redeem it.
That is your wish, kinsman?
That is my wish, Boaz.
And peace be with you, kinsman.
And with you, peace, Boaz, and pleasure in your redemption.
Now, this was the custom in former time in Israel concerning redeeming and concerning exchanging, to confirm all things. A man drew off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor, and this was the attestation in Israel. So the near kinsman said unto Boaz,
Buy it for thyself.
And so saying, he drew off his shoe. And Boaz said unto the elders and unto all the people,
Ye are witnesses this day that I have bought all that was Elimelech's, and all that was Chilion's and Mahlon's of the hand of Naomi. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I acquired to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off among his brethren and from the gate of his place. Ye are witnesses this day.
We are witnesses.
The Lord make the woman that is come into thy house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel.
And do thou worthily in Ephraim, and be famous in Bethlehem.
And let thy house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore unto Judah, of the seed which the Lord shall give thee of this woman.
So Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife. And he went in unto her, and the Lord gave her conception, and she bore a son. And the women said unto Naomi,
Blessed be the Lord who hath left thee this day with a kinsman, and let his name be famous in Israel.
And he shall be unto thee a restorer of life, and a nourisher of thine old age.
Yea, for thy daughter-in-law, who is better to thee than 7 sons, hath borne him.
And Naomi took the child, and laid it in her bosom, and became nurse unto it. And the women her neighbors gave it a name, saying,
There is a son born to Naomi.
And they called his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David. Now these are the generations of Perez. Perez begot Hezron, and Hezron begot Ram, and Ram begot Amminadab, and Amminadab begot Nahshon, and Nahshon begot Salmon, and Salmon begot Boaz. And Boaz begot Obed, and Obed begot Jesse, and Jesse begot David. Copies of the script you have just heard may be obtained free of cost by writing to the Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York 27, New York. And now we present a brief talk by Dr. Louis M. Levitsky, past president of the Rabbinical Assembly of America and rabbi of the Congregation Oheb Shalom of Newark, New Jersey. Dr. Levitsky.
This is the day which the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad on it. By proclamation of the President of the United States, this day is one of thanksgiving for God's grace to us and for the victory granted to our armed forces in Europe. We have wrung at a high price unconditional surrender from the enemies of God and of civilized mankind. God has chosen us, the United Nations, to be His instruments to remove from the face of the earth the blight that almost devoured all that mankind had built up in truth and in mercy in all these many centuries. This day, then, is a day of triumph, not for us, but for the immutable and eternal moral code of all mankind. This code, according to biblical tradition, was proclaimed to all the world at Mount Sinai. The approaching festival of Shavuot, which occasions this morning's program, commemorates that greatest of all historic events. Once again, mankind has learned by sad experience that the moral law cannot be violated with impunity. When the wicked spring up as the grass, and all the workers of iniquity flourish, it is that they may be destroyed forever. It is well to remember on this day of triumph that it is not only, nor primarily, the greater force of our numbers and arms that brought the victory in Europe, but the power of righteousness on whose side we lined up our legions, our ships, and our planes. We, the United Nations, merely carried out God's verdict, decreed by Him at Sinai, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not kill, and thou shalt not covet," apply no less to nations than they do to individuals. Consequently, national righteousness must be as much a reality as is personal integrity. The sanction for this universal moral law does not stem from a fleeting economic theory or a temporary political philosophy or a casual social speculation. It is derived from God, and like its author, it is coextensive with time and space. "Thou shalt not take my name in vain" is part of creation itself. No man and no state may use God's name in vain. This moral law is not the property of one people or the possession of one nation. It is the very soul of the universe. A nation, like an individual, which is not attuned to this universal soul, must die. This explains our victory in Europe. Our task is not done. We must needs pray that God lead us to final and complete victory over the remaining forces of arrogance, who would substitute the rule of man or of a state for the rule of God. May God's kingdom of righteousness, justice, and peace for all men soon be established in the world which He created according to His will.
Thank you, Dr. Levitsky. The Eternal Light is written by Morton Wishengrad. The music is composed by Henry Brandt and conducted by Milton Katims. Cantor David Putterman of the Park Avenue Synagogue, New York, was the soloist. Charlotte Holland was featured as Ruth. Boaz was played by Louis Van Ruten. Naomi by Nell Burt. And Alexander Scorby was the narrator. The entire production was under the direction of Ira Avery. This program was a public service of the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations, and was presented under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. If you would like to have a free copy of the script, write to The Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York 27, New York. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
You know what it is to be ruthless and unfriended. You know the ache of it, the pain of it. I know. It is 1,800 years that I am dead, but I know. For my name is Elisha ben Abuya. Never forget my name. Elisha ben Abuya. I was a traitor.
The National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations bring you The Eternal Light. This public service program is presented under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. Our story today is Rabbi Milton Steinberg's novel, As a Driven Leaf, adapted for radio by Morton Wishengrad. Roger de Colvin is featured as Elisha ben Abuya. Following the dramatic portion of the program, you will hear a talk by Chaplain S. Joshua Cohn.
He sings a scholar's hymn, but he does not sing it for me. He sings for those who stood fast, and I did not stand fast. He sings for Akiba ben Joseph, who was a saint, whom I betrayed, and for Ben Zoma, who was my colleague, and Meir, who was my disciple. The song is for them. Yet, did not the sages declare that it is forbidden to cast a stone against him who is fallen? Perhaps then one small note of melody is for Rabbi Elisha ben Abuya, who once in the time of the Sanhedrin and the Roman conquest of Judea was whole of heart and untormented by doubt. How did I, who was a rabbi and one of the Sanhedrin, turn from faith to betrayal? I cannot say. But there was a time when a sickness came to Judea, and Meir, who was my disciple, and dearer to me than a son, asked me to come to his house, where 2 small children lay stricken with the plague.
Beruria, I've brought Rabbi Elisha.
A happy week to you, Meir. And to you, Rabbi Elisha.
How are the children?
The children? Better. Yes, better. Much better.
I'll go in and see them.
No, they're resting. Let them be.
You speak so strangely.
Perhaps it's because I have a question for you.
Yes, Beruria?
A man came to see me many years ago. He left 2 precious jewels in my safekeeping. Today, before you came, he appeared again. 2 precious jewels, Mayor, and I am loath to part with them. Must I give them back to him?
Well, they never were your property. You must give them back.
2 jewels which I kept for so long.
But they were only yours for safekeeping. Tell me.
Go and see. I have given them back.
Beruria.
Yes, Mayor, your sons are dead. He who gave them to us asked for their return.
The Lord hath given, the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the righteous judge.
A question to you, Rabbi Elisha. The soul that sinneth, it shall die. But did my babies sin? Did their father sin? Did I sin? What was our offense that God cursed us?
I don't know, Beruria.
Then who knows? You are my husband's teacher.
It is not in our power to explain either the happiness of the wicked or the suffering of the righteous.
Is that all you can say?
If you believe in God, what more can you say?
Yes, Rabbi Elisha, forgive me. There is a passage in Job. My father read it to me. Of things too wonderful for me, things which I knew not, have I spoken. Wherefore I abhor my words and recant. Blessed be the righteous judge.
She said it, and Job said it, but I doubted. My head was filled with blasphemous thoughts. Had not the Almighty dealt deviously with them? Had he not tricked them into submissiveness? Now I was no longer wholehearted. I was torn in two. For how can the soul make a truce with mystery when the mind cries out for understanding? I wanted understanding. More than faith, I wanted reason. Yet I was afraid to speak. So I placed the question deviously before Akiba ben Joseph and Simeon ben Zoma. I tricked them.
Let me understand you, Elisha. You want to prove your faith through reason, is that it?
Yes, Akiba.
How, Elisha?
I'm not sure, Ben Zoma. Perhaps...
Yes?
Perhaps through Greek philosophy.
Since when do we need the word of the pagan to justify the word of God?
Well, then let me put it another way. We ought to know Greek philosophy so that we can defend ourselves against it. Will you join me in study?
Elisha, I will do anything to help you.
Thank you, Akiba. And you, Ben Zoma?
You haven't told us all, have you, Elisha? But it doesn't matter. I'll join you.
I'm very grateful to you both. Now, if you'll allow me, I shall hurry to Caesarea to buy the books.
First, a toast. Elisha, I raise my glass to you, to faith, abundant and clear and strong as this wine, for us and for all Israel. May God go with you to Caesarea.
I must say this is strange reading for a rabbi. Aristotle, Plato, ethics, metaphysics, analytics.
It will do for a beginning.
Take this. It is my gift to you. Euclid, Elements of Geometry.
You're very kind.
I wonder. Rabbi, I like you. Don't take these books.
You speak strangely for a pagan.
What do you want with them? Go back to your own people and your own tradition.
I can't.
Philosophers have never given me anything. They are liars, glib with promises. You will sow your mind with dragon's teeth.
What do you think is in my mind now?
Yes. Yes, it is plain enough. Very well, here are your books. Rabbi, I hope they don't make you sick.
The bookseller was wrong. They did not make me sick. In Euclid, I found what I wanted, a method. Here was logic in motion. I was seeking a theology, a morality, a faith confirmed by logic. But it eluded me. And while Akiba and Ben Zoma did not seek after the things I sought, nevertheless, they bent over the writings, and they were troubled and even changed. And back and forth I rode to Caesarea, searching among the books, speaking to the bookseller.
Rabbi, you're doing yourself mortal injury. Stop before it is too late.
I cannot.
I don't know what you want, Elisha, but whatever it is, the price will be too high.
Yes, the price was also high for a man named Job. He stood up and challenged the presence behind all things. Wherefore he said, hidest thou thyself from me? Wilt thou harass a driven leaf?
May your God have pity on you, Elisha. Because that is what you are, a driven leaf. And where is it going to end?
Where was it going to end for me and for Akiba and for Benzoma? For I did not let them rest. Akiba was a rock and did not waver, but Benzoma was shaken. May God forgive me, but I tortured him with my doubting. He was a good man and straight in his faith, but I knew how to plant a question. I had no eyes to see what I was doing to him. And then when I was able to see, it was too late. He was missing one night, and Akiba and Ben-Azai found him babbling under a tree.
To the firmament is the distance of 500 years' journey. And from the topmost firmament of God's throne is an equal distance. And the upper firmament is so close to the lower that a bird flying between them would brush both with each stroke of its fluttering wing.
Listen to me, Benzoma.
No, it is written in Scripture. Vishaftim ba'aretz. In the land, ye shall grow old. Now, the numerical value of the phrase, ye shall grow old, is 852. But the first Commonwealth before the exile lasted for only 850 years.
Benzoma, stop. Listen to me.
Look
at me. Let him be. Let him alone.
Well,
what does it mean? Is he ill?
God pity him. He is mad.
Elisha does not believe. Elisha denies everything. Shh. I mustn't say so. Elisha is my friend. Not to anybody. Elisha is my friend. My friend.
Why are you looking at me like that?
There is nothing to say. He was a virtuous man. He will have his reward in heaven.
Do you believe that, Ben-Azai?
Yes, Elisha. There is a righteous judge, and he will render judgment.
It is a lie.
Elisha!
I say it again, it is a lie. There is no reward, there is no judge, there is no judgment, because there is no God. It is the first step that is difficult. Now the step was taken. Judea was tradition, and tradition was a tended grave. I went to Antioch. I went among the Greek philosophers to study reason, to find a higher truth without mysticism, to build a system based on nature and on logic. And in Antioch I found Pappus, who was a friend of my boyhood. Pappus, the Hellenized Jew. He smiled at me and called his barber.
Now, don't be afraid, Elisha. Quickly uncut a side lock before he protests. Ah, excellent, Leon. Now the other one quickly before he changes his mind.
Come now, Elisha, don't look so rueful.
I thought...
Oh, never mind what I thought.
Leon, his beard, go to work.
Will he cut it all?
Naturally. Then he'll shave your chin.
He's cutting more than my beard. He's cutting off the past.
Then be grateful. Leon, when you're finished, I think we shall try a Roman haircut on our friend.
You have plans for me, I see.
Wonderful plans. There are enough philosophers here to make you intoxicated on syllogisms. You'll see, Elisha. You'll see.
How many men have studied as I studied, beginning clean, without prejudices, without preconceptions, searching for the universal truth in nature, the truth that can be proved. The days were long in passage, but in retrospect, they were like a moment. They mounted into weeks, into months, into years. Then one day, Papas came to me with news.
Put down your books, Elisha.
What for?
The rumor is spreading that the Emperor Hadrian plans to rebuild Jerusalem as a pagan city.
How does that concern me?
If it's true, there's going to be war.
They won't rebel against Rome.
No.
Oh? They will destroy themselves and bring misery to thousands who never heard of Palestine.
You know, Elisha, I don't like the way you say they. You might use we occasionally.
Really, Papas, you surprise me. I'm not accustomed to thinking of you as a Jewish patriot.
I grant I'm a bad Jew. But, Elisha, at least I know I'm not a Roman. Which side are you on?
My work is more important to me than anything else.
Which side, Elisha? Palestine or the Roman Empire?
You insist on an answer?
I do.
Very well. My answer is that I hope I may never be compelled to choose.
Elisha, a time always comes when a man has to take a stand.
The war came, and incredibly, the ragged battalions of Judea beat back the legions of Imperial Rome. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. In the 4th year of the war, the Romans burst into Jerusalem. Then a courier delivered a summons for me and for Papas.
You are Elisha, formerly of Migdal in Palestine?
I am.
And your name is Papas?
It is.
You're ordered to travel with all possible speed to the city of Jerusalem.
Whose orders?
Marcus Tinius Rufus, governor of Judea.
Yes, but suppose we refuse to undertake the trip.
Prison.
Oh, I see.
The highway to Palestine goes south, not east. I merely suggest the information.
It's rather considerate of you.
It's the only road on which you will not be arrested.
Papas, what do they want?
Roman generals rarely take me into their confidence. It's an order, and it will have to be obeyed.
Exactly. You're allowed 7 days to make the journey. I recommend that you take no longer. Tinius Rufus is an impatient man.
Welcome to Jerusalem, pilgrims. I will come to the point. This province has rebelled 3 times in less than 70 years. I am instructed to adopt such policies as will make another insurrection impossible. You know these people. Now advise us. How shall we cut out the root of the trouble?
Tinius Rufus, the logical way would be to cut out the root of their bitterness. Let them rebuild their temple. 1 hill means nothing to the Roman Empire.
Elisha, I ask you not to treat me as a child. We are not interested in throwing away our victory.
You are asking us to assist you against our own people.
Your loyalties are your own affair.
Your Excellency.
What is it, Polyander? I left orders I was not to be interrupted.
You are wanted at once, Excellency. Our scouts have located the last rebel detachment.
All right. These men are under arrest. Hold them here for me.
Elisha, have you made up your mind?
I'm going to obey Tinius Rufus.
In God's name, you can't mean that.
I have no alternative.
It's your own flesh and blood he wants you to betray. Are you afraid to die?
In a sense, yes. No doubt for the pain, I'm of little consequence, but I have to finish what I started. My work will be significant to all men. I'm near the truth I've searched for.
Haven't you heard of the simple loyalty of a human being to his own kind?
These irrational feelings collide with reason. My life is dedicated to reason.
No, Elisha. You have only convinced yourself of the wisdom of treason.
Bring them in, Polyander. That one first. Papas, you know what we want. Your answer.
The answer is no.
Arrest him for treason. You, Elisha?
I agree. But on one condition.
We are not bargaining with you.
Ah, but you are.
Very well. State your condition.
Papas must be set free.
Cheap enough. He doesn't mean anything to us. Release him, Polyanda. You'll stay here, Elisha. You'll stay here and teach us how to suffocate the Jews. Won't you, Rabbi?
He was thorough and unpitying. He stood over me and probed for the vital organs of Israel. And I betrayed Israel. The Sabbath was forbidden. The rite of circumcision prescribed. The Sanhedrin dispersed. The sages seized and held for execution. The academies closed. The ordination of rabbis prohibited. Shouldn't I have told him? I was Elisha ben Abuya. I worshipped reason, and sentiment was irrational. Oh, yes, about one thing I was irrational. They brought Meir's name to me on a list. I remembered Meir and Beruria, his wife. I failed to identify him, and Meir was spared. But what did it matter? Akiba was murdered. And I, Elisha, the rational man, was released to pursue truth. How many bitter, sterile years did I pursue truth? Yes, I pursued truth. And on a road in Palestine, I found Rabbi Meir.
Is it? Merciful God, how you've changed.
Rabbi Meir. It's Rabbi Meir now, isn't it?
Yes, Master.
You call me that after everything?
Forgive me, Master. Oh, Elisha. Did you have to serve them so completely?
I don't understand that myself now. It is hard to be hated as I'm hated.
I don't hate you.
It isn't the clenched fist, Meir. It's the averted face. It isn't the flung stone, but the sudden silence, the windows shuttered, the dreadful emptiness of those whom I have wronged.
Rabbi Elisha, did you find what you went to seek?
I found vanity and striving after wind.
No more than that? No more than that, Master, for all the struggle and the sacrifice?
No more than that. I sought to find truth among the pagans, but what are the achievements of their scholars when they despise justice and mercy?
Sit here and rest, Master.
No, let me speak. Meir, it was my great error, this reverence for the intellect. It led me to condone the sins of Rome. It induced me to dismiss as blind emotion the impulses of loyalty and love for my people. Now I know, Meir. The processes of life overflow the vessels of reason.
But the method of Euclid, Master, the method you put so much confidence in.
You remember the epigram of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai?
Yes. There is no truth unless there be a faith on which it may rest.
That's the answer to Euclid. And I knew it all the time.
I don't understand.
You must understand. All truth rests ultimately on some act of faith. Science on its faith in the world of nature. Geometry on axioms. Everything begins with faith. I have made a journey in a circle, Meir.
Goodbye, Elisha.
The God of our fathers remain with you, my son.
May he forgive you, Elisha ben Abuya.
It is 1,800 years, and I am dead. But I remember, and I remember Mayer standing over my grave. For from the cemetery down the hill, from the grave at his feet, from dead yesterdays, ghosts came stealing. And he wept not alone for me, but for himself as well. For a woman who rarely smiled, for sweet children who slept nearby, for a people crushed and persecuted, for all the sons of men, their aches of the body and soul, and their dreams that die.
The script you have just heard was adapted for radio from Rabbi Milton Steinberg's novel, As a Driven Leaf, published by Bobbs Merrill Company. Copies of the script may be obtained without cost by writing to The Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York 27, New York. And now, in honor of National Maritime Day, to be celebrated next Tuesday, we present a brief talk by Chaplain S. Joshua Cohn of the U.S. Maritime Service Training Station at Sheepshead Bay, New York. Chaplain Cohn.
On Tuesday, May 22nd, our country will observe National Maritime Day and pay tribute to the gallant merchant seamen who have played and still do so glorious a part in winning the war. Our merchant sailors have borne the brunt of the first attacks of the enemy. They kept the lifelines open in the darkest days of the war. The tremendous number of sinkings by the German and Japanese submarines did not deter the merchant seamen from sailing on and on. Let us hail these unsung heroes, whose sagas will be told with reverent awe in days to come. They had a job to do, a very dangerous job. They did it and paid the price for our precious liberty. They sailed to the frozen waters of the north. They brought the ships with their cargoes to the fever-ridden tropics. They sailed to Murmansk, to Archangel, to the Aleutians, to India, to the South Pacific, to all ports and all beaches. Their ships were blasted by torpedoes, demolished by aerial bombs. They boarded others. They drifted in lifeboats or rafts. They hungered and were parched with thirst. Still they carried on. They froze and they were burnt. Still they made port. They fought a global war on all the seas. They brought the millions of men and millions of tons of cargoes to the beaches and the ports. Let us salute the brave seamen who still carry on, and let us offer a prayer in memory of the thousands who gave their all and found a permanent abode beneath the waves of the sea. O Lord God, Thou who rulest over calm waters and tempestuous seas, protect the men of the merchant marine who sail the charted waters. Thou who watchest over all men, guide those who go down to the sea in ships, and bring them back again safely into snug harbors. Thou who sustainest mankind, grant strength and fair weather to the men who carry precious cargoes of food and clothing in the holds of ships. Thou who dispensest justice and dealest kindly, grant courage to the men of the merchant marine to sail the seven seas with all the materiel for fighting men until victory is won and a durable and triumphant peace established. We pray unto Thee, O God, for the souls of all those brave merchant mariners who have sanctified the cause of liberty and freedom with their lives and who now sleep peacefully beneath the waves. May their souls be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. May their heroic sacrifice, together with those of all our brave soldiers and sailors, be an everlasting memorial to a better world of human brotherhood. Amen.
The Eternal Light is written by Morton Wishengrad. The music is composed by Henry Brandt and conducted by Milton Catons. The soloist was cantor David Putterman of the Park Avenue Synagogue, New York. Elisha Ben Abuya was played by Roger DeKoven. The entire production was under the direction of Ira Avery. This program is a presentation of the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations and comes to you under the auspices of the Jewish Theological Seminary of America. If you would like a free copy of today's script, write to the Eternal Light, 3080 Broadway, New York 27, New York.